Despite having an unfortunately sizable backlog of games to platinum, I decided after finishing my last game to have a look at what new releases there had been on the PlayStation Store. I wanted something a little bit different, a more light experience than the 100-hour JRPG I had just finished, but I was unsurprised to find that the PlayStation Store was full of games that looked cheap and boring. I love to chase trophies, don't get me wrong, but I try not to get platinums in games that I don't enjoy anymore. Disheartened from finding nothing that caught my eye, I then went to OpenCritic to see what games were new and what had been decently reviewed, and I saw a game called Thank Goodness You're Here sitting an 86 review average. I popped back to the PlayStation Store and found it, and it was a game that I had completely scrolled past on my first look. I had seen it and just thought it was another game that wasn't worth a second look. This time though, I opened the game up and read the game's description and was intrigued. So I took the bait and jumped in, and if everyone else seemed to like it, surely I would too. So let's see what's in store for you in Thank Goodness You're Here. Thank Goodness You're Here opens with a series of bizarre commercials introducing the quirky town of Barnsworth, a fictional place nestled in the north of England based on Barnsley. You play as a tiny yellow salesman sent to meet the mayor, and your first task? Leave your boss's office, by jumping out of a 10th-story window, landing on top of an oncoming bus. It's a strange start, but it perfectly sets the tone for the surreal, absurdist comedy that runs through the entire game. Described as a comedy slapformer, Thank Goodness You're Here delivers on that promise. You only have 3 basic controls: moving, jumping, and slapping. Slapping is your character's only way of interacting with the world, and though it may sound strange, it's a mechanic that ties back into the game's unique brand of absurdist humour. Surprisingly though, this simplicity never grows old. There's something delightfully satisfying about your little hands causing chaos in the world. By the time I had finished the game reminded me a lot of Untitled Goose Game in the way that it takes a simple concept and turns it into something incredibly fun and memorable. Barnsworth is populated by a cast of eccentric characters, most of whom need your help, and greet you with the titular phrase, "Thank goodness you're here." The tasks you're asked to complete are delightfully weird, from mowing lawns to helping someone free their arm from a road grate. But as you progress, things get more and more bizarre. The comedy, however, never falters. You'll meet characters like the milk shy boy, who desperately wants milk in his tea, or 2 pie makers locked in a rivalry based on their pie sizes. The humour is everywhere, both in big laugh-out-loud moments and subtle visual gags. The writing and comedy takes inspiration from classic British comedies, with echoes of Monty Python, The League of Gentlemen, and The Mighty Boosh. The dialogue often twists in unexpected ways, keeping punchlines fresh and surprising, and a lot of this is thanks to excellent voice acting talent, which actually includes the iconic Matt Berry. Though the gameplay is simple, the town of Barnsworth is anything but. Thank Goodness You're Here is a short game. It only took me about 4 hours to get the Platinum Trophy, but the areas you explore are packed with detail and charm. You often loop throughout the same areas, but each time you do, there's always something new to discover. Whether it's seeing the full effect of the chaos you've caused, or slapping some new dialogue out of the townsfolk, Barnsworth feels alive. The art style is equally as unique as the gameplay. The character designs and environments feel like they could have come straight from a Cartoon Network show, like The Regular Show or The Misadventures of Flapjack. This visual humour is just as integral to the game as the dialogue, and it's clear that a lot of care and attention went into every scene. When it comes to trophies, Thank Goodness You're Here is simple but does have a few missable trophies. But since the game is so short, replaying them to mop them up isn't such a huge task. My main advice for getting them though is just to slap everything, sometimes more than once. One of the main trophies that I missed was Menage a Trois, which you can earn about halfway through the game. At one point you need to jump on a bag of fertiliser to help the gardener. Instead of doing that, head left off screen and keep going until you end up inside the house with 2 people watching from their window. This one is quite easy to miss as it's not obvious that you can even leave the screen this way. The other trophies that I missed were for not interacting with things as I went through the area a second or third time. An example of this is the trophy Think Fast, which requires you to go into the pub on your 3rd visit back to the town square. I would recommend definitely playing through the game without a guide on your first run. It is really short, as I said, and it's an experience best enjoyed when you're not worried about finding every trophy and just letting the comedy carry you. You can always go back to clean up the ones you've missed later on a second 1.5 hour run. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed Thank Goodness You're Here. Comedy in games can be incredibly hit or miss depending on your sense of humour, but this game struck all the right notes for me. It's a short, sweet experience filled with charm, laughter, and a heaping of absurdity. If you think this style of humour would resonate with you, I would highly recommend giving it a go. It's the perfect way to spend an afternoon, and was a refreshing break from more demanding games. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you have played Thank Goodness You're Here, or if there are any other games that have made you laugh out loud. Please consider subscribing, and until next time, happy hunting.